of the above, we state as follows. Kenya Kwanza regime must stop profiling Mount Kenya youth as Mungiki or Walefi. We call on critical institutions, among them the Independent Policing Oversight Authority, IPOA, Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, and the National Cohesion and Integration Commission to investigate the conduct of police at DCI offices and raids on minor Jenga's homes and the statements by government officials on the so-called resurgence of Mungiki sect. Any attempts to profile and vilify the community or to claw back gains made will be resisted very strongly. We will resist KK regime economic policies that are designed to oppress, deprive, or curtail economic opportunities of any of the communities that make up the state known as Kenya. Many of you might recall that back in the 80s and before, we had the cooperative movement. It was the first line of attack by the Moi regime. Many from Mount Kenya went under. We now can see another onslaught on the chamas, the merry-go-rounds, another onslaught on those groupings that are quite predominant within Mount Kenya. We will continue monitoring, documenting, and responding to emerging policy and human rights abuses affecting Mount Kenya region and any acts that are outside the rule of law. Kenya Kwanza regime, in its evil design to impoverish the poor people of Mount Kenya, must be reminded that it is not possible to legislate the poor into prosperity by registrating the wealthy out of prosperity. We demand the immediate withdrawal of the Finance Bill 2023 in its entirety. The unwarranted and uncalled for attacks on His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta, the Azimio chairman, must stop. We have said there before, and we want to repeat again, to some of those elected or holding elective positions within Mount Kenya, that in the past we have witnessed the reign of buffoons within Mount Kenya, and especially immediately after the death of President Jomo Kenyatta. We shall not allow this same behavior again within Mount Kenya. Mount Kenya is not available for auction. You need to look around for something else to sell. And all forms of political mobilization will be done to counter the re-emergence of these buffoons, and our right of association must be respected across. Remember, Pastor Mackenzie is not being investigated for belonging to the Christian faith, but for what he did, the criminal acts. Our rights of association, our right of association must be respected. I thank you. May I invite Governor Iria to have a few comments.
Thank you very much. We are here because we are concerned and worried about our community. So, and you can see we are with other communities. But there is a concern on what's happening within the community of Kikuyus. And some of us have stood our ground, and you've said that we have to speak out because we can clearly look into the past, we can analyze the recent past, and we can project the planned future. As a community, this is a community which 8 months ago was being celebrated as a central cog for Kenya Kwanza. Our youths were being glorified as the mighty hustlers, and our youths were moving aloud in waves and the wave resorted to the government that is said to be in place. Our worry is how such celebrated youths can within 6 months turn into thugs. How can hustlers transform from being hustlers within a space of about 6 months into being gangsters, into being mandalas, into being mungikis, into being drunkards, into being any other objective which can define them in the negative? That is a question which some of us are asking ourselves, and our leaders, our Kikuyu leaders, are just clapping as we are being demonized. If we don't speak for our youth, then we are condemning our future. Our youth are being targeted because of the future of Kikuyus as a community. The question which comes through is, where has this subject of Mungiki come from? Because no incident has been observed, and you media people have been with us in this nation. What has happened in the last 6 months to justify the statement and the proposition that there is the emergence of Mungiki? We want to be told of one singular event in one small village within central Kenya, the broader Mount Kenya, which has prompted this debate. Because we belong here, you belong here, we have not had anything, but all it has, suddenly the government, specifically through Gachagua, has announced that there is reemergence of Mungiki. Where has that come from? If it's not a plot to blood, to profile our youth. Gachagua need to realize one thing. This nation owes a debt to Kikuyus for the blood which was shed in the Rift Valley. We lost people, human beings. Kikuyus known by name, working people, were buried. They also owe us a debt in the name of our youth who are massacred in between 2004 and 2009. They were killed, and we have information they were even being buried by policemen under the name, under the blooding of Mungiki. Which is that offense which made our people be killed? Is it an offense which was supposed to be judged outside the court system? We have a list of people, young men who went missing, and some people seem to be celebrating that today. Between 2004 and 2009, our youth were killed under the guise of Mungiki, and Gachagua said it very clearly that it will happen the way it happened then. That is a threat to our youth. It means that our youth are supposed to be killed. And before they kill, before any drop of blood is spilled in Mount Kenya again, we must be compensated for the blood which we have already lost. It is dear enough, and enough is enough, and no one is going to spill any blood from any of our youngsters, whatever their mistakes, when we are alive. And I want to repeat once more, we are going to take census of the young men that we have lost. Nearly every family in Mount Kenya has a record of a lost son.